let's take a quick look at this right here. What is the major difference between Chat GPT and DeepSeek? Okay, I think that's a question you should ask. One thing that I've realized right here is that when you go ahead and you break it down and you just go into summary, it literally goes ahead and tells you if you need a versatile and user-friendly AI for general purpose tasks such as creative writing, conversation, and basic information retrieval, go with ChatGPT. If you require a highly customizable and potentially more efficient solution for specific technical tasks, particularly in areas like coding or logical reasoning, go with DeepSeek. And dude, honestly, this right here, this is beautiful, guys. For those of you guys, honestly, like if you see what I see, okay, I literally see the right hemisphere and I literally see the left hemisphere of the brain. For those of you who've ever studied psychology or ever looked at a psychology, even just 101, you already know, hey, you have the left brain hemisphere, you have your right brain hemisphere, and just literally, like, it's funny and scary. It's funny how we literally create a reflection of that of which we are, and I don't mean to sound all poetic and get all creative because we are here to look at some of the technology and we'll get into it, but just look at the beauty. Do you guys see the beauty and the poetry and that of which of Chat GPT, which was created out in the West, and then the beauty of DeepSeek, that which was created out in the East, and it's very funny because it's almost like vice versa, where you would think that DeepSeek would be on the eastern side, would be a little bit more on the esoteric creative side, and that the western side would be more on the analytical 1+1 is always one, reasoning skills, but yeah, like I see beauty in this. I really do, more than just that of which would be the technical aspect. But nonetheless, let's get into the technical aspect. Okay, guys, I'm going to notice here. The first thing is we're not going to break down all 53 pages. What I like to do is just focus on one thing and get really good at it and then comprehend it really well. Multi-head latent attention. So this right here, guys, is literally what makes DeepSeek compete. What makes it, I don't want to say better, but what makes it stand out as opposed to ChatGPT, because DeepSeek has that latent. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and look into this right here. More specifically, what I want to make sure that you guys know by the end of this video is that AI is not a new concept. AI was coined in 1956. Artificial intelligence was coined in 1956. I have a proposal for the Dartmouth Summer Research Project on Artificial Intelligence. Dartmouth College, Harvard University, IBM Corporation, Bell Telephone Laboratories, which is also known as AT&T. As of today, Bell became so powerful and big that the government had to break it down into smaller pieces. But IBM, I know you guys know who they are. They're still around now. But this whole idea that AI is completely new, no, it's been here since 1956. That's when it was first coined, and a lot of the groundwork was laid in 1940s during World War II. So nonetheless, we will talk about tokens, because that is an important concept when it comes to AI. But what I want you guys to get, and this is where you might sound a little smarter than the next person, now that you already know, hey, AI was actually coined in 1956. But what made AI so dominant? What made AI so mainstream? What was the difference? Okay, and the difference is the transformer architecture. Both ChatGPT and DeepSeek have transformer architecture. And what is transformer architecture? Long story short, in 2017, instead of processing information sequentially, which is one bit at a time, one bit at a time, one bit at a time. In 2017, something magical happened with the transformer architecture, where basically now it goes ahead and it processes information in what is called long range dependencies. So it's looking at it as a whole, so to speak. That is what basically makes ChatGPT. Because if it was to process information one bit at a time, it would not be able to do what it does now. So that's the reason why in 2017 and later they started to get better and better and better and better at it, is the architecture in which it processes its information. Now, I did mention when it comes to DeepSeek versus ChatGPT, while there's a lot of differences, what we're going to focus on today more specifically is the multi-head latent attention. Okay, and let's go to that. and we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at this right here. What I wanted to focus on was a couple things. Noticed that I previously said tokens. Okay, what is a token? A token is another word for data. Data. The name of the game, believe it or not, is still data. Okay, so this whole idea, and notice here I even said, doesn't make sense to me. Explain it more. What did I originally ask? Explain the multi-head latent attention. Okay, there's three major components that are in DeepSeek, two of which are in Chat GPT. Once again, what I'm trying to say here is attention mechanism is in Chat GPT. Multi-head attention is in Chat GPT. Latent is not in ChatGPT, but it is that in DeepSeek, which actually goes ahead and distinguishes the difference between DeepSeek and ChatGPT. Long story short, remember how I said that tokens are data? Okay, well, the attention mechanism is exactly that. You input data, you ask a question, it's going to tokenize that data. It might tokenize a letter, it might tokenize a word, it might tokenize a number, it might tokenize the phrase, it might tokenize the whole sentence. Okay, but nonetheless, your data is being tokenized. In how it does it is going to be based on the algorithm, which was that crazy math that I showed you guys before. Okay, when it comes to multi-head attention, this is where the magic happens. This is where that quantum, like voodoo, woo woo, is a one really a one? Is a zero really a zero? This is where you literally start to assign different values to your tokens. Okay, so you do that in a parallel in a parallel realm. So, for example, if I have the word cat, I can say cat is equal to one, is equal to two, is equal to three. Okay, and within that parallel realm, it's going to run its computation, and you're going to get different values. And now you can go ahead and, depending on what its output is, you can say, "Hey, this was a good answer. Go ahead and the now it's starting to learn." Okay, so with the multi-head attention, it's basically providing different values to those tokens. Okay, where DeepSeek makes its money, where it has its bones, so to speak, where it's different. Okay, and it gets more into that quantum idea, is the opportunity for it to go ahead and have better context. Okay, it has a better idea of the context, more so with its actual. It's not just looking at the raw data, but it knows that there's a preference to that raw data, which it was studying from its tokens, which its tokens were based on its data. So, for example, the best way I can explain this, and the way I've come to learn this, is if I say, "Is it raining outside?" versus "Is it raining outside?" One of them is like a serious question trying to find out the information. The other one is more so that of which would be sarcastic, like, "Hey, I'm making small talk, it's raining cats and dogs, so to speak, no pun intended. It's so I give it the same exact data, but depending on the context, we as human beings can pick up on social cues, we can pick up on verbal language, we can pick up on physical language, we can go ahead and pick up on a lot of different situations. We know when, at least we have a better idea when people are being sarcastic and when people are not. So when it comes to latent, it basically is saying that, hey, the language model is getting better and better at looking at the context clues of how you're asking that question based on previous tokens, that has a better idea to literally deep seek to find that connection. Okay, and that's honestly one of the reasons why I think they called it deep seek. Nice play on words there, guys. Really good. I think that's pretty awesome, because that's literally what makes it different from Chat GPT, where Chat GPT is more of a, hey, we're going to chat. It's going to be it's intended to be more of a language model. I mean, they're both language models technically, but its emphasis was more on being able to talk and have a conversation as a normal human being, where DeepSeek is more so, it's looking at the input that you're giving it to find the nexus point within the data, so it can go ahead and output that information. And it does so by looking at the context information, that which is almost like the pretext. So hopefully that makes sense. It makes sense to me. Sometimes it might not make sense to you, but if you have questions, comments, concerns, if you want to know more about this, go ahead, put it down in the comments below. If I were to go ahead and make it short, sweet, in one sentence, think of it like this: attention mechanisms is you tokenize the data. Multi-head attention is you go ahead and you give those tokens different values in a parallel realm. And then with the latent is it's the opportunity that makes DeepSeek that which it is, which it looks at the context of that information, the raw data, and even where that raw data would have been derived from. Okay, so I honestly think that, like I said, a lot of good things going on. Cool thing is that it's open source. Something that you guys should definitely look into. Maybe you want to go ahead and make your own open AI server. Quick side note: technically, DeepSeek wasn't the first one to go ahead and have their AI be open source. Shout out to Meta; they were the ones who actually went ahead and did it. It was just the fact and the way that DeepSeek made it. Like they said, they had less people, less money, less resources, and they're still going ahead and competing with some top-notch companies out there. And it's interesting times, nonetheless. Maybe we can look into a deeper. Look into maybe DeepSeek MOE architecture later on. We can dissect this part by part, or if there's something on here that you guys want to go ahead and actually evaluate and look at together, let me know. Put it down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys on next one.